I think that's true. Did I reflect? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dan. Well, I mean, really and truly, I'll actually have time to have a bourbon now. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Are we all right? Are we all okay? Oh, yeah. Charlie needs to get to his special seat. I'm working 2 microphones tonight. I'm Mary. I haven't met you. Well, always hold on. Yes, he was a buddy. For sure. Situation. So you will find that it's better to aim. We're never eating dinner. Hope nobody wants to eat dinner tonight. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're going to really hear me now. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are so excited to be here with you tonight to celebrate Shabbat, to celebrate Rabbi Erdheim. And this week, not only is it a special Shabbat because we are installing Rabbi Erdheim as a rabbi in our congregation, but because it is called Shabbat Shirah, the Shabbat of song. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So we're going to start singing a song that's probably new to most of us. And the words are, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Let's all sing a new song to God as we celebrate the new song that Rabbi Erdheim sings with us. We're going to practice the words a little bit, and then we're going to give it a go, okay? Can I have that? Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. We're going to do that, okay? Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Your turn. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo. Shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. We're going to try it. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai umehulal meod, norahu al kol Elohim. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Ki kol Elohei hamim melilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hod v'hadar lefanav, oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havu l'Adonai mishpechot amim, havu l'Adonai kevod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behar hakodesh, shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Chilu mipanav kol haaretz, imru v'goyim Adonai malach, aftikon tevel baltimot, yadin amim b'meisharim. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. So in preparation for this evening, I actually was doing a little Talmud study. And you see in the Talmud there is a discussion about the ordination of rabbis in Tractate Sanhedrin. And some of the sages, well, they argue that it only takes one person to ordain a rabbi based on the appointment of Joshua by Moses in the book of Numbers. But there are other rabbis, other sages, who, of course, disagreed, saying that perhaps Moses was really just representing the whole Sanhedrin, the great Jewish court of 70 judges. From interviewing a rabbi, we also recognize that there are a lot of people who have to be involved in getting a rabbi to our congregation. And the answer is not that it just takes one, but it takes 71 sets of hands, at the minimum, of hands and hearts to bless a leader in the congregation of Israel. And the sages argue, and they argue, and they argue, and then they don't actually come to a conclusion. Who would have thought? But the sages of the Talmud were here tonight, and if they knew anything about Temple Beth, they would have understood the wisdom of the multiple hands and hearts option. Because what we see tonight and every day at Temple is that it takes many hands to do the work of community. From holding a Torah high to comforting a mourner, from feeding the hungry to advocating for a cause, from interviewing a rabbi and a search committee, as I said, to educating our young and our young at heart. We all know that it takes many hands to make a stranger feel welcome, a new prayer, a shir chadash, a new melody feel familiar. It takes many hands and hearts to raise our sights, sustain our hope, and to anchor our faith. It takes many hands to build a congregation, to lead a congregation, and to renew it day in and day out. Each of us brings unique gifts, and we are blessed to have a rabbi. We're blessed to have a rabbi like Rabbi Erdheim, who embraces diversity, who knows well that listening and leadership are interdependent and not mutually exclusive. Rabbi Erdheim's commitment to Jewish discovery and wisdom is all about joining the many hands and many hearts to make this community thrive. And my friends, we are really lucky. Amen is right. It takes many hands and hearts, and a rabbi and her spirit, and our congregants and our commitments, and the promise of a Jewish future and possibility before all of us. And so that is what tonight is about. It's about Shabbat, yes, but it's also about the promise and potential of Rabbi Erdheim's rabbinate, how she uses her strengths to engage us, enliven us, challenge us, and comfort us, and help us to join hands and hearts to make our community and our world better. So, we're going to start by doing something that is important to Rabbi Erdheim and to all of us, to warmly welcome one another with our hearts and our hands. First, to all the people who are watching and streaming at home, there are cameras right behind you, and I invite you to turn around and to wave and to say, Shabbat Shalom. And I especially want to welcome Rabbi Erdheim's parents, Robbie Blitz and Paul Erdheim, who are here, and Charlie Cox's parents, Joan and Greg Cox. We are so glad that you are all here. And we welcome, of course, Rabbi Deborah Silver, who we're excited. We'll say a little more about Rabbi Silver in a little while, to our congregation, to our community. And, of course, we welcome one another. So we turn to the north, the south, the east, and the west, in every different direction, to welcome one another here and to say Shabbat Shalom.
No, the other one did the last Friday before. Do you want me to do it? I do left to right? I'll wait a second.
Tomorrow morning Esri McHugh is going to become a bat mitzvah in our congregation, and she has lovingly brought her family here tonight. And Esri, we are so excited that you're going to lead us, your family's going to lead us in lighting the Shabbat candles and in welcoming Shabbat with the words of Kiddush.
We'll join together in the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Borei peri ha'gavin Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher b'shanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodesho be'ahava
Uvratzu hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishi Ki hu yom tehillah lemigra'ei kodesh zecher letziyat mitzrayim Ki banu v'charta Iltanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodechecha Hinecha tanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. You got a drink. It's just juice. I want you to know. All right. Esri, mazel tov to the McHugh family. Mazel tov to you in advance. We're so looking forward to you leading us in Shabbat services tomorrow morning. In our congregation, we have wanted to lift up joy and more joy this year, and wanted to lift up joy in a way that is expressive of not just always the big things that happen in life, but also just the daily miracles that occur. And so I want to invite you to share things that maybe were joyous this week, things that you were celebrating. Maybe it was a good grade on a test. Maybe, like Kenner Thomas, it's a birthday that is today. So happy birthday to Kenner Thomas. Maybe it is just a wonderful thing. So if you'll be willing to raise your hand and to share a wonderful thing that happened. Yes, will you tell us what is a wonderful thing that happened to you? One more time. Tomorrow you're going to your best friend's birthday. Mazel tov to your best friend and have a great time. That's wonderful, yes.
We adopted a chocolate lab. Her name is Oakley, and
she's a perfect chocolate lab named Oakley. Mazel tov, may you sleep at night. That's amazing. That's incredible. What are some other, yes? Well, congratulations. congratulations for writing, entered into a contest, and to getting great feedback. That's just a wonderful affirmation of creativity and your time. Wonderful. Yes? Your daughter. Mazel tov to Frida for getting to the Northwest School of the Arts. That is awesome. That's really great. Yes?
My son's adopted.
Yours?
Defended his dissertation at Virginia Tech today, and now he's a PhD in computer engineering.
A son who's a doctor and PhD in computer engineering today and defending it. Yeah, Jillian. Awesome. Way to turn 30 on February 12th? Yes. You had Taekwondo today? All right. Will you walk me to my car later? Is that okay? All right, that's great. Yes. I think taking 34 students to New York City and making it back is fantastic. What a wonderful thing. Yes. That's beautiful. Silas, you going to say something? Your sister's going to read from the Torah tomorrow. That is fantastic. Yes. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Yes. PhD from Howard University. Mazel tov. So, yes, and we'll do the last one. Yeah. Hold on for 1 second. One more. Your dad turned 38 on Sunday, right? Your dad turned 38 on Sunday. That is fantastic. We all thought it was 39, but it was 38. That is great. For birthdays and PhDs and school trips and Taekwondo and for family all being together and from reading from the Torah tomorrow, there are so many things to be grateful for, and we lift up all of these things, and we thank God not only for giving us life, but for sustaining our lives and helping us to reach joyous occasions.
Lazman hazeh,
As we continue to welcome Rabbi Erdheim, we also welcome in Shabbat as we continue with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai Ushema לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai lai, yalalai lai.
between the Baruch Hu and the Shema, we traditionally offer two blessings, a blessing for creation and a blessing on revelation. The evening blessing for creation, Ma'ariv Aravim, describes creation as a series of transformations, changing time and seasons, rolling light into darkness, darkness into light. Our power as humans is our ability to partner with God in continuing the process of creation. Rabbi Erdheim is a true partner in creation, dedicated to creating the world anew by transforming our community. Through social justice work, she works to roll darkness into light, to push back against injustice and inequality, to create spaces where the light of each individual can shine. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, God, who brings on evening. Blessed are you, God, who inspires us to transform darkness into light. The evening blessing for revelation. Thanks God for showing us love through the giving of Torah. Rabbi Erdheim is an agent of that love, inviting learners of every age to find meaning in our sacred words, to wrestle with the challenges of today using the wisdom of our people. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, God, who loves your people Israel. Blessed are you, God, who fuels Rabbi Erdheim's drive to share words of Torah. Blessed are you, God, as well, who inspires her to mix in with words of Torah, references to pop culture, and highlights from the latest sporting events. We continue with the Shema.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Ba'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. As Cantor Thomas mentioned at the beginning of our service, this Shabbat is Shabbat Shirah, the Shabbat of song, named after the song that the Israelites sang at the sea. After they'd crossed safely through the sea, they sang and danced together, welcoming in this new era of their life as a people. Mi Chamocha is right at the center of that text, singing to God, who is like you? How amazing are the things that you have done for us. And we continue to sing those words, continuing to revel in all that we see around us.
Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Tishkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Ve'avidenu Shomreinu Lechaim 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 Lechaim.
Each one of us is made B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. But what does it mean to be made in God's image when each one of us is unique in both appearance and character? One way to answer this is to consider how we as individuals can emulate God's qualities. For example, at the end of Avot V'Imahot, which we will chant shortly as part of the Amidah, God is described as Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Abraham's shield and Sarah's helper. So with this example, to be made in God's image might be to act as a shield and a helper. I witnessed these divine qualities in Rabbi Erdheim's work in our community. She acts as a shield. She is a protector, standing up against the injustices of the world, teaching Jewish values that protect our rights to be our authentic selves. At the same time, Rabbi Erdheim is a helper, standing alongside those in need, providing her positive energy to another's work, accompanying people through difficult times. We each can find those qualities in God that we can hope to emulate. We continue now with V'Shamru, and then we'll move into the Amidah.
V'Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם לדורותם ברית עולם. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, Magi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Lifnei Pneihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rab lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed. Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech nofelim verofeh cholim. Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato. Lishenei afar. Micha mocha ba'al gevurot. Umido melach. Melech memit umechayeh. Umatzmiach Yeshua. Ve'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim bechol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, me'el hakadosh. Please be seated. We're going to offer one more prayer out loud before we move towards a silent Amidah. And we're including this tonight because whenever I think of New Orleans, I think of this particular setting of Ritzay, I know. And as I'm sure you can imagine, we talk about New Orleans a bit because that's where Rabbi Erdheim has been, and Charlie, of course, who's joining us up here on drums tonight. And I had a friend who was a cantor there for a while, and he would always sing this piece that I wrote with a different friend when I was in cantorial school. And I just associate it. What was the inspiration behind this particular setting was a professor that we had at HUC that I know Rabbi Erdheim had, and I'm pretty sure that our Rabbi Nichols and Rabbi Knight probably as well, and probably Rabbi Bonheim, Rabbi Moshe Zilberstein. So he was our liturgy teacher. Yes, we know who I'm talking about? Yes. Okay, he was our liturgy teacher in our year in Israel. And one of his little gems was this idea that as we move through the Amidah, this section of our service, this central part of our service, that there is an audacious covenant theology at play, right? Not just that there's a covenant, not just that there's a relationship between God and the Jewish people that is expressed in our prayers, but that there's an audacity to it. Now, what he means by this, if we think of Shalom Rav, the end blessing in Shalom Rav says, "Blessed are you, Adonai, who makes peace." And Rabbi Zilberstein said, it's as if we're telling God what to do, right? When we say this blessing, it's like a reminder. Remember, we are in relationship, and you, God, help us to make peace. So there is an audacity in the relationship that we have with God, and I will tell you that there is a beautiful audacity in Rabbi Erdheim that will help her in the most positive way to change our congregation and change our world for the better. Because when you have that fire inside of you to speak truth to power and to ensure that the right thing is done, the right thing will be done. So we offer one more blessing of the Amidah, asking God to be present with us here in this time and with our people Israel. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael Utefilatam Be'ahava Tekabel Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael Utefilatam be'ahava tekabel Utehi liratzon tamid Avodat Yisrael Amecha El karov lechol koreav Penei el avadecha v'chonenu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu. This is your part. Okay, here we go. Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu. We're going to do it one more time. Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu V'techezena eineinu B'shuvecha l'tzion berachamim 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 Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion. We take time for silent prayer.
Shalom Aleinu. What's that? Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. And if you want to give a snap to Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Keep going. Yaseh Shalom. Stay there. Go with me. Keep going. Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel.
Thank you, Zach. In our congregation, we think of those who are in need of healing, and there are going to be some names that are put onto the screen. And these are names of people that we think about each and every week who are in need of healing of mind and body and spirit and soul. And as the names continue to scroll, I want to invite everyone here to say the names of people that you're thinking about, people who are in hospital rooms or at home across the world that you're thinking about them, or maybe it's right next to you, sitting right next to you right now, or maybe it's also you. To say their names out loud or in your heart so we as a community may pray for them. Thank you. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, O God, who comforts and supports those in need.
Spirit, and let us say, Amen.
It is our pleasure to welcome Rabbi Deborah Silver here to Temple Bethel. Rabbi Silver got to know Rabbi Erdheim while they both served congregations in the New Orleans area, and Rabbi Silver was a spiritual leader of Shir Chadash, and she was ordained by the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies in Los Angeles, and she then later spent about 6 years serving as a rabbi at Adat Ariel. And one thing that you're going to notice about her is that she's not from around here. She's not from these parts. She holds a master's degree in Hebrew studies from the prestigious King's College in Cambridge, England, and a master's in theory and practice of literary translation from the University of Essex in England. Then, after doing all of that, she worked as in theater and publishing, and then qualified as an attorney through the College of Law in London, working in private practice as a law professor. And then she decided to become a rabbi. Usually they say from Maimonides, from Moshe Rabbeinu to Moshe Rabbeinu, there is no one like Moshe. From Moshe Rabbeinu to Rabbi Silver, there is no one like Rabbi Silver. More degrees than Maimonides. Rabbi Silver serves on the Committee of Jewish Law and Standards for the Rabbinical Assembly. She is a graduate of Claw's Clergy Leadership Incubator and the Institute of Jewish Spirituality's Clergy Leadership Program, for which I am also a participant in. She creates avenues to help people connect to the beauty of Judaism through texts and through music and through yoga and movement. She is wonderful at not only gaining wisdom and meaning from Jewish tradition, but also walking that path and encouraging rabbis to do so too. It is our pleasure, Rabbi Silver, to have you here.
Thank you so much. Good evening. And thank you for that beautiful welcome. Goodness. So I wanted to say, first of all, how very honored I am to be here tonight, to be part of Rabbi Erdheim's installation. It's rare, or comparatively rare, for a rabbi to be asked to install one of their own colleagues. It's often a privilege that is taken by the shul that the rabbi has joined. So I feel doubly honored to be able to be here tonight and to share this very precious time in your community's history with you. You know about me, but let me remind you that Rabbi Erdheim and I met in the maelstrom that is New Orleans, and in much the same way as I have been credited as being for her. She was a safe place, a shelter, a trusted colleague for me there. So it is very important to me to acknowledge that out loud. And now for a little bit of Torah. This week, once again, we're going to hear the crash of the mighty waters at the Red Sea. And next week, once again, we're going to stand together at the base of Mount Sinai as the lightning flashes and the clouds thunder. But in between those two enormous miracles, there is one more. I call it the miracle in the middle, and it's the miracle of the manna. And this is how the Torah tells us about it. The Torah tells us, when the fall of dew lifted, there over the surface of the wilderness lay a fine and flaky substance, as fine as frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they said to each other, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, "This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather as much of it as each of you requires to eat. An omer to a person for as many of you as there are. Each of you shall fetch for those in his tent." And the Israelites did so. Some gathered much, some little. But when they had measured it by the omer, the one who had gathered much had no excess, and the one who gathered little had no deficiency. They had each gathered exactly as much as they needed to eat. On the 6th day, they gathered double the amount of food, 2 omers for each, and when all of the chieftains of the community came and told Moses, he said to them, "This is what the Lord meant. Tomorrow is a day of rest, a holy Shabbat of the Lord. Bake what you want to bake, and boil what you want to boil, and all that is left put aside till morning." And then Moses said, "Eat it today. For today is a Shabbat of the Lord, you will not find it today on the plain." And the house of Israel named it man. We translate manna. It was like coriander seed, white, and it tasted like wafers in honey. Now the manna may not be as noisy as the waters or as spectacular as the fire at Sinai, but nonetheless, it was a miracle, and we can learn a great deal from it. So I want to take a few minutes to take a closer look. First of all, let's wonder about what it looks like, just as the Israelites must have done the first time they saw it. Manna is white, it's bright, it's fine, and it's insubstantial. In contrast to challah, and even in contrast to matzah, it doesn't look like much of a meal, even though that's what it's for, to feed and to nourish the children of Israel. But it does, and it nourishes them for as long as it takes them to reach the promised land. And we know that the manna tasted sweet because the Torah tells us so. Our early teachers add that the honey that we eat was only 1/60th as sweet as the manna. And another midrash teaches that it became whatever the person eating it needed most. Bread for children, honey for grown-ups only. So however fragile it might appear, one of the miracles of manna is that rather than happening to us, it becomes part of us. Interesting. Second, let's notice that manna is ephemeral. It obeys certain rhythms, it falls in the night to be there for the morning, and when the sun comes up, it melts away. And on Shabbat, it's not there at all, though twice as much falls the day before. These rhythms are heavenly, not human. So to live on manna, a person needs to respect that it is itself and adapt to it. And in return, as we just learned, the manna will adapt itself to the person. The sea and the mountain are the language of authority. Manna is the language of relationship. So manna also teaches us to live in rhythm. You could even say that it's manna, rather than the fourth commandment, that properly establishes Shabbat for the people. And also that Shabbat is meant for us to focus on relationship with the rhythms of the earth and with each other. And perhaps that's why so many things on Shabbat come in pairs. Third, manna is mysterious. Like a good impressionist painting, the closer up we get to it, the more wonderful we realize it is. At the start, it's lying there on the ground in plain sight, but in the end, it's always hidden away, inside the bodies of the Israelites, and inside the special jar that is entrusted to Aaron, an omer's worth of manna to be kept at all times in front of the Ark of the Covenant. Our rabbis teach that that jar of manna made its way all the way into the first temple, where it was hidden again by King Solomon in a labyrinth that he'd built under the stones, along with Aaron's rod and the oil for anointing the priests. The jar does not reappear in the second temple, and perhaps the manna ultimately makes its way into eternity. Still there? Perhaps the manna ultimately makes its way into eternity, where in the third vault of heaven, which is called Shechakim, the Talmud tells us that there are mills that grind it for the righteous to eat forever. So the third lesson of manna is that it teaches us to look within, that what is hidden can be just as important as what appears on the outside. And finally, manna has something to tell us about leadership. Our teacher, Rabbi Yossi, taught us 3 good sustainers rose up for the Jewish people during the Exodus from Egypt: Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. And 3 good gifts were given from heaven through their agency, and these are what they are: the well of water, the pillar of cloud, and the manna. The well was given to the Jewish people for the merit of Miriam. We will learn more about that tomorrow. The pillar of cloud was for the merit of Aaron, and the manna was for the merit of Moses. And it's curious that Moses, who takes pride of place in the Torah from the moment he's born and is so often out front, should be associated with this mysterious, fragile, internal substance. It's as if God sees something in Moses that it might be harder for us to see, that in addition to his authority, Moses is capable of leading gently. We don't often see him rendered in this way. It's far more common to see him depicted with his rod in the air, or a fierce expression on his face, or just simply exploding in rage. But there is a gentler side to him. So manna's 4th lesson is that a leader need not be officious. In other midrashim, Moses is always resolving disputes. Really, that was his day job, and it was the miracles that only came here and there. When he led in this way, I believe that this was what held the children of Israel together in the wilderness. Moses working in the space in between. And that's what all 4 aspects of manna have in common. Set between the sea and the mountain, it is truly the miracle that happens in the middle, whether becoming part of us, or making relationships, or hiding its sweetness for when it is needed most, or helping us towards difficult decisions. Manna is the gentlest of leaders. And tonight, this community opens its arms to another. Rabbi Erdheim, Lexi. Like the manna, you are bright and full of sweetness. Like the manna, you sustain relationships. You understand that to be a leader is sometimes to work from the inside, to draw people towards the wisdom you know they can attain, even before they do. And all of this brings joy to you, and it brings joy to us. And there's one more blessing the manna has for you on this very special night. I offer it in my own name and in the name of my beloved Chavruta, Rabbi Yael Seidov, who I hope and trust one day you will meet. And this is the lesson. Manna falls by grace. It isn't subject to plans or schedules. To be a gatherer of manna is to trust that it will be there on the field waiting for you. And when you take it in, it will be exactly what you didn't even know you needed until that moment. And my blessing for you tonight, as you step further and higher into your leadership, is that you will know at every moment that the manna is there to sustain you just as much as you deliver its sweetness to this community. And let us say, Amen.
I want to invite forward the clergy of Temple Beth and also our Rabbi Emerita, Rabbi Judy, and visiting other rabbis in our community, Rabbi Bonheim, otherwise known as my wife, Anna. Hello, I don't call her that at home. If there are other rabbis in our community here, Rabbi Clears, thank you. Exactly. I think there's a long time that Rabbi Judy did not have the kind of chavruta partnership in this way. Rabbi Clears, come forward. I'm going to invite members of our search committee and our board of directors and our past presidents and the board of our congregation to come forward and to come around. And as they make their way up, I'm going to invite the congregation to please rise. Gather all around. Hi, Ginger, sorry. Alan. Hold on for a second. On. If we can get this microphone on. So, as I said at the very beginning of the service, many hands and many hearts are here to ordain Rabbi Erdheim as our rabbi. Many hands and many hearts, all representing this community. And all of you are witnesses, and all of you are a part of this too. And so I want to invite everyone to come close, to place your hands, or the clergy to place their hands upon Rabbi Erdheim. And for the board and come on up, it's okay, don't be afraid. To place your hands on the shoulders of the clergy. And we're going to lead a congregational blessing that Alan Karnovit, our president, is going to help lead us in, the words of which will be on the screen. And then, as a congregation, we're going to bless Rabbi Erdheim with the words of Birkat Kohanim, the words of the priestly benediction, which is at the very center of the Torah.
Our God, and God of our ancestors, we turn to you in prayer for Rabbi Lexi Erdheim and Temple Beth. May the wisdom of the past blessing our future, and may our community be strengthened by the bonds we create between generations. Let the love of Judaism flourish within us through active learning and living, and may we always strive for justice. May our meaningful prayer deepen our connections to you, to each other, and to our own inner truths. May our curiosity and questions help build and strengthen our Jewish community at Temple Beth and beyond. We ask that you bless Rabbi Erdheim with wisdom, steadfastness, and dedication as she leads our congregation. Give her a wise heart, courage, and love for truth and justice, and may she embody the teachings and principles of our tradition.
Amen.
Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's light always shine upon you. May God deal kindly with you.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom.
May the face of the Holy One be turned towards you always. And may God give you peace, serenity, completeness, wholeness. Nourish.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will, and let us all say, Amen.
We continue together with the words of Champion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
Please be seated.
I know it's a great service when Charlie is looking at the service outline and leading more than I am. That is always a great sign. Thank you, everyone. So today, when I opened my Facebook, I had a notification that I had memories on this day with Asher Knight, Eden GoBuddy, and Andy Harkavy. And I had a moment when I thought, February of last year, I didn't work here yet. What was going on? And it was because exactly 1 year ago today, Temple Beth announced that I would be joining the team as a rabbi. It feels particularly fortuitous then that 1 year later, I am being formally welcomed into this community through this beautiful installation ceremony. In July, just a few months later, Charlie and I moved here, barely knowing a soul. But throughout the entire process and every day since we've arrived, we've been welcomed in the most warm and authentic way. In the short amount of time that we've lived here, this congregation has truly helped Charlotte become our home. As a heads up, this is the part where I'm going to attempt to effectively express all of the gratitude that I am feeling at this moment. I will inevitably fall short, but I will try nonetheless. So first, I would be remiss not to recognize the incredible, unique nature of this Shalom Park and the staff and leadership of all of the different organizations who have been incredible partners and have welcomed Charlie and I into the Charlotte Jewish community. I am forever grateful for the professional team here at TBE who really are exactly that, a team. A team that I am so incredibly proud to be a part of every day. I want to offer a particular thank you to Nicole Sidman, our Associate Director of Social Justice and Outreach, who enables this congregation to live out our Jewish values and to work towards change. Thank you to the lay leadership, particularly Jill Blumenthal, Nicole, and my partner in social justice, and Alan Kronovit, our Temple President, who's been a constant source of support and encouragement. A huge thank you to the installation committee and event hosts who have put in so much work into making this weekend spectacular and really feel like it is very much me, and have facilitated such an easy transition for me. Joy Miller, Betsy House, Jen Clark, Jody Para, Sarah Schreiman, Janet Abel, and Howard Glazer. I want to also offer gratitude to Rabbi Judy Schindler, who not only does so much to enrich this congregation, but also to enrich the broader Charlotte community. And I'm really, really honored to have the opportunity to learn from her as a rabbi and as a community leader. By far, one of the most meaningful parts of my experience here at Temple Beth has been the opportunity to work with this clergy team. Cantor Thomas, Rabbi Nichols, Rabbi Knight. I often can't believe how blessed I am to have partners like you. I admire each of you, and I've already learned so much from each of you. Thank you for pushing me to think deeply, to question, to be my best self. But really, thank you for your friendship and your camaraderie. Rabbi Silver, I'm eternally grateful to have a mentor, a friend, and a colleague like you. I've always loved learning, teaching, and praying with you. I was fortunate to get to know you as a rabbi through your davening and your preaching at Shir Chadash. But what was even more special was getting to know you as a friend. Throughout COVID, myself and Rabbi Silver and our friend Rabbi Pernick, who is the rabbi at the Modern Orthodox Synagogue, every Saturday, every Shabbat afternoon, we would go on a walk on the levee. It definitely sounded like the beginning of a joke, a Reform, a conservative, and an Orthodox rabbi go on a walk. But it was some of the most beautiful spaces that I had the opportunity to experience. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate this special moment with me. And I'm so thrilled that this community has the opportunity to taste just a little bit of your magic. To Charlie's parents, Joan and Greg, thank you for welcoming me into your family years before I was ever an official part of your family. Thank you traveling from New Orleans to be here this weekend, and thank you for bringing king cakes. I do have my priorities. Thanking parents, the people who raised me, in a sentence or two is always insufficient, but we only have so much time. So to my parents, Paul and Robbie, thank you for following me on this journey that I'm sure has taken you to places you never imagined I would go or that you would go. But thank you for all the ways that you've supported me in my journey in the rabbinate when I was at school in New Orleans and now here in Charlotte. I know that I would not be the rabbi that I am today if it were not for the two of you. Lastly, to Charlie. Again, there are not enough words to fully express my gratitude for you. Thank you for believing in me and for taking this leap of faith as we picked up our lives and moved to a new city and a new state, and you stepped outside the bounds of the state of Louisiana for the very first time. But I am so grateful that you are willing to hold my hand and close your eyes and take this leap. I've loved the past 6 years of building our lives together, and I'm looking forward to what we will continue to build in the future. Okay. If you know me, you might know that something I'm passionate about is clothing. One of the most important rabbis in my life, Stacy London, of the TLC makeover show What Not to Wear, preaches that clothing and fashion is not something superficial and vapid, but rather one of the myriad ways that we express who we are internally, externally. But what I want to talk about tonight is one specific garment, the kippah. Every morning, I sift through my mound of kippot to find one that matches my outfit perfectly. Or, if the Yankees happen to have won a big game the night before, I'll wear that kippah. Or I'll wear my Saints kippah on Sunday, praying, albeit often in vain, that it will be a good luck charm. But my relationship with my kippot have changed over time. When I first started rabbinical school, I thought of my kippah as this transformative tool. If I was out with friends at the movies or the beach, I wouldn't wear it. But as soon as I was in a Jewish space doing Jewish things, like praying or learning Torah, I would put it on. It was like Clark Kent walking into a phone booth, changing into his cape and suit, taking off his glasses, and walking out as Superman, ready to save someone in trouble. But that changed for me in 2017. That January, when individuals from predominantly Muslim countries were banned from traveling to or immigrating to the United States, protests erupted at airports across the country. Along with other classmates and friends and rabbis, I showed up at a protest at LAX. I reached into my pocket and I felt my knit kippah between my fingers and contemplated for a second whether to put it on or not. Ultimately, I thought, I'm here as a Jewish person. I was there because our tradition teaches us that we are obligated to care for the orphan, the widow, and the stranger, for we were strangers in the land of Egypt. So, despite my usual worshiping or learning rule, I clipped my kippah onto my head. A few minutes later, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around to see a woman about my age wearing a hijab, a Muslim head covering. She smiled at me and said, "Shalom Aleichem." And to be honest, I panicked for a moment because I was not used to wearing my kippah in public. I forgot it was on my head. How did she possibly know I was Jewish? But as soon as I remembered, I turned around and smiled and said, "Alaikum salam." That was it. That was the end of our interaction. But it had a profound impact on how I understood my Judaism and what it means to wear my Judaism proudly. To show up as a Jew in every space, not just the ones that feel the safest or most obvious. After that, I tried to wear my kippah more often, and it resulted in some really interesting conversations. I remember one time engaging in a deep discussion about what it means to be Jewish with the mechanic at the Toyota dealership. In some conversations, individuals revealed that I was the first Jewish person they had ever met. I would always point out that I was probably just the first Jewish person that they knew was Jewish that they met. Even last night, I ran into Harris Teeter to pick up a bottle of wine, and the cashier on the way out noticed my kippah and said, "Oh, are you Jewish?" "Yes," I replied. "Oh, what is that thing that y'all say at the end of the Passover Seder?" she asked. "Next year in Jerusalem?" "Yes, that's it," she smiled. It's not always a comfortable experience, especially as a woman wearing a kippah in certain Jewish spaces. But overall, by choosing to identify as Jewish in public, by choosing to wear my Judaism, I have enjoyed sharing my joy in being Jewish with the world around me. Under no circumstances am I suggesting that every person here needs to wear a kippah or a Magen David necklace, but what I am encouraging us to do is to wear our Judaism proudly, however you choose to do that, whether metaphorically or literally or both. We live in a non-Jewish world. Jews are 0.2% of the world's population. American Jews make up 2.4% of the United States population. And sadly, we are living in a moment when anti-Semitism, which is always bubbling under the surface, has been rearing its ugly head. Earlier this week, I had the privilege of speaking with Ben Freeman, the author of a book called Jewish Pride, in which he applies the concept of gay pride to the Jewish community. He explains that anti-Semitism is a problem of the non-Jewish world. Our responsibility as Jews is to live full Jewish lives, to be proud of who we are and how we live Jewishly, even though that will look different for each of us. When I first visited Charlotte and Temple Beth, that sense of Jewish joy and pride emanated from every corner of this community. After all, we are on a 54-acre campus that houses almost every major Jewish institution and is literally in the shape of a menorah. We have literally left a Jewish imprint on the city of Charlotte. That is incredible. And at the same time, it can be difficult to be Jewish here. As I know well, it can be particularly difficult to be Jewish in the South. Many of our teens face anti-Semitism daily. We may feel isolated at work during the Christmas party, We might fight with the school district to ensure that our students are not penalized for missing a test or a sports practice scheduled on the high holidays. When we show up in progressive spaces to fight for justice, informed by our Jewish values, we are often minimized and discounted because of our Zionism. It's not easy, but I hope that this synagogue will always be a refuge from the challenges of being Jewish, a kind of gas station, or EV station if you prefer. That this community, Temple Beth, Shalom Park, the Charlotte Jewish community, is where we can recharge, build connections, learn deeply, mourn deeply, pray deeply, laugh loudly, and celebrate boldly. This place can serve as our reservoir of strength, that we bring our Jewish values, beliefs, culture, identity back out with us into the world. Okay, it may sound a little strange, but it actually reminds me of an oft-repeated message that I hear when I'm on my bike taking a Peloton class. Hang on with me. So they teach often that the bike is a training ground for the rest of our lives, to build our inner and our outer strength, to learn to believe in and trust ourselves, to know that we can do hard things. That's how I understand the synagogue as well. It's a place where we learn about ourselves, our traditions, our values, so that we can not just be Jewish, but live Jewishly outside of the walls of the synagogue. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Serve God with joy, Psalm 100 urges us. In the moments of our greatest uplift, and the moments of our greatest challenges, and in every moment between, may we remember to find our joy in our text, in our community, in our cultures, and in the power of imagining and creating an even brighter future. Shabbat Shalom.
We rise together with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach Adon HaKol Lateit Gedula Leotzeh Bereshit Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Ha'aratzot Velo Samanu K'mishpechot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem V'gor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam V'anachnu Korim Umishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai Lemelech Al Kol Haaretz Bayom Hahu Yeh Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad. Please be seated. At the Mourners Kaddish, we invite in our congregation mourners to rise, to honor the memories of their family members, and to stand after the name of their loved one when it is read. To stand is to lead, and the mourners in our congregation lead us in remembering and mourning our loved ones, those who died recently and those who died at this season in years past. Temple's clergy, they also stand with our community's families. And if you ever are at a bat mitzvah rehearsal or a premarital meeting or a class, and you happen to look down at the shoes of the rabbi or the cantor, and you see a little speck of mud on them, it's because earlier that day we were at the cemetery. standing with the mourners, listening to stories, holding the shovel, embracing with love and support. In our congregation, our mourners stand, and our clergy stands with them, and so too do we all stand with them as one congregational family to lift up each other with our hands and our hearts and our memories and our love. On this Shabbat, our community remembers those who died in the last 30 days. Ron Hampton, Michael Cecil, whose funeral is this Tuesday, Robert Sparks, Joseph Pepos Tarabalus, and also another individual named Joseph Pepos Tarabalus. We mark with sympathy the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Bess Aberman, Azrael Alpern, Bertha Bard, Marshall Bedole, William Leon Berkelhammer, Constantine Bittman, Barry Allen Buchatman, Edith Bernstein, Dorothy Chamow, Donald Chatham, Richard Coates, Benjamin Cohn, Gloria Coleman, Molly Fagan, Walter Feldman, Bernard Fishman, Jacob Frank, Leon Friedman, Jack Bernard Garfinkel, Leon Geismer, Rita Goldblatt, David Michael Goodman, Louis A. Gottlieb, Bernard Gottlieb, Ann Grossman, Janet Horsley, Harris Jacobson, Renee Kaplan, Linda Karakova, Alfred Kaufman, Hortense Korach, Samuel Lavitan, Norman Lieberman, May Long, Herman Neiman, Sylvia M. Norman, Emmanuel Packard, Morris Pepper, Ernestine Rice, Emily Rickles, Alice Rosenzweig, Evelyn Rubens, Stanley Sachs, Isidore Saul, Ray Sawarski, Simon A. Schloss Jr., Fan Schrader, Selma Schwartz, Benjamin Schwartz, Leo Seide, Bernice Ritz Sherman, Helen Sherman, Todd Sherrill, Doreen Simon, Stanley S. Schlesinger, Howard Seufer, Marvin Seufer, Shirley D. Sparks, Wallace Starr, Harry J. Stein, Oscar Stein, Gladys H. Stein, Norman Steinberger, Janelle Stewart, Jose Suarez, Brenda Tripoli, Fred Wallenstein, Ruth Wahlberg, Sam Warschauer, Shoshana Weiner, Joseph Weinrib, Rose Wiederman, Sanford Wine, Sylvia Zaidman, Morton Zellickson. Remember as well all who died in the Shoah and the Holocaust, our American servicemen and women who gave their lives, and our first responders who gave their lives defending our country and showing up for us, and those who died defending the state of Israel. Zichronam livracha. May all of their memories be for a blessing as we rise as one congregational family with the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitz Gadal vayitz Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehe Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei olamaya Yitz barach v'yitz tabach v'yitz pa'ar v'yitz ramam v'yitz naseh V'yit hadar, v'yit halev, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, ta'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mroma, uya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
Invite you to be seated just for a little more. Eliza Carney, if you are here, I saw you earlier. There you are. A member of our Board of Trustees, Eliza, is going to come forward to give us some announcements. say something right afterwards.
Just hold it. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Eliza Carney, and I'm a member of the Temple Beth board. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening to celebrate the installation of Rabbi Lexi Erdheim. We have much more in store tomorrow. A special Torah study will begin here at 9 a.m., and a Havdalah with Rabbi Erdheim will take place tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at Catawba Brewing. So we hope to see you there. And for all you football fans, there is still time to come on out to our first ever Super Bowl party on Sunday, February 12th at 6 p.m. And this is presented by our Brotherhood. We'll have the game on the big screen, food, soft drinks, Super Bowl party games for kids and adults, and it's BYO beer and wine. Sounds like fun. So get your fan gear ready and register by Wednesday, February 8th. Save the date. We've got our Purim Spiel, which is always a blast. The Shushan Rhapsody. It's based on the music of Queen. And that's going to be on Sunday, March 5th at 11 a.m. right here in this sanctuary. Is this the real life or is this just fantasy? We're going to have to come here and find out. And finally, time now for This Shabbat in 80s History. In 1986, That's What Friends Are For by Dionne Warwick and Friends topped the Billboard charts. And what kind of friend would I be if I didn't encourage you to register for our 80s dance party on March 11th? I've already registered, so please join me. Great music, nostalgia, and amazing company. Please remember to register. And also remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. See you there.
Okay, following that is ridiculous. Eliza, here you go. Thank you. Eliza, thank you. Oh my gosh. Rabbi, our congregation has some gifts for you, and I just want to. I'm going to do the thing that I sometimes do, which is I'm going to spoil the and sort of spoil the surprise of the gifts. First off, these gifts are from our transition committee and from the congregation. The first gift is from a local Jewish community member and artist, Tara Spill, who has created a piece of art that actually connects a bridge that is in New Orleans with a bridge that is at Freedom Park. And it's a piece of art that is for you connecting New Orleans and Charlotte together, which is a beautiful thing. And she has a little note for you as well. There's a beautiful painting, and says to you from our community. The other thing is that there are some books in here, and also a gift certificate to the Central Conference of American Rabbis, to the publishing house of the CCAR, so that you can grow your library and to continue to teach us so well. So thank you very much. We'll give you that in just a moment. One last hoda'ah is beyond also saying thank you to everyone who we've already mentioned in terms of the installation planning team and the search committee and all who've planned gatherings for Rabbi Erdheim. I want to thank you to our staff and to our musicians and to everyone here. I also want to invite everyone as we go to dinner to grab your name tags. And if you didn't register, come. You can still put on a name tag and join us as well. Most importantly, if the kiddos don't like what's for food tonight, I've been told that Jared may have a special something for them as well, tucked away, not for the adults in the room, which is a big thing. So we're going to conclude with the words of Adon Olam. We're going to conclude with the words of Adon Olam, and you're going to know this melody, I think, connected, of course.
This was Rabbi Erdheim's one request.
One request.
So we have got to do it. We've got to do it, all right?
Adon Olam B'terem kol yitzir nivra Le'nasa b'chefso kol Emo nikra Be'acharei Kichot hakol Ba'ado yichov norah Vehu haya, vehu hoveh, vehu yeh b'tifara. Vehu echad, ve'ein sheni, hamshilo lehachbira. Veli reshi, veli tachlit, velo ha'oz ve'hamizrah. Yehu Eli, V'chayoli, Vehu Eli, Ve'etzara. Honestly, Ve'achayoli, Ve'yom Ekra. Ve'yado, Avki Bruchi, Ve'etishan, Ve'aira. Geviati Adonai Elohira. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Do you know that bridge in New Orleans, or do you know the bridge in New Orleans? It's sort of like, apparently connected.
City Park?
I don't know.
I think it's either City Park or Ottoman. It could really be.
It's really cool. Awesome. Really good. For all of us. It's really great.
Yes, it's a very different